Morning.
What is up, my duders and dudettes? It's time to wake the fuck up, samurai. We got a Westpoint to conquer. Ha! You thought I was gonna say the same line again and have the N-word have an echo and reverb? Well, you thought wrong! Oh, god damn it. It's August 10th for Christine Choate. She has become the hardened survivor, as represented by her gains in skill. The Sigma grind never stops. She's been dismantling and putting together cars for that sweet, sweet experience. Once I have her achieve mechanics level 2 and electronics level 2 by dismantling whatever I could get my hands on, I decided to do some miscellaneous tasks. First was to go out to the field and retrieve that car wreck that I abandoned. It could serve me well as another car to train on, or to scrap for the metal. Of course, I had to bash in some skulls. So I could tow it without any interruptions. I hauled the junker with no problems, other than the growling in my stomach. I fixed it with some peanut butter cups and other candy, before I head out on foot. Stay hard! In the outskirts of Westpoint, I returned to the Spiffo van. I now have the minimum skill to hotwire and drive it to the gas station, but not before I whip out the Spanish toothpick and give those Zeds a taste of cold steel. As I was carving decayed flesh with my knife, I noticed a SWAT zombie. Now those guys, they had the best armor. To avoid ripping it apart, I whip out the mallet and show him my whack-a-mole skills. Also, this freak looked like he was dragged through a spike factory.
Freaky.
I get some new wheels and park it at the gas station, because why not? Backups are always good to have. I fill her up and head to the hardware store's loft to sleep through the incoming darkness. Wake the bunk up, Zomboid. We got a west to point. The next day was spent looking around the nearby buildings and slaying zombies. I returned to where I set off the echo siren and notice that the police station is nearby. I take the police car in the parking lot and bring it to the gas station. I had a few cars piled up here, just in case I need another whip to flex on them zombies. Speaking of, no matter how many I kill, another group would migrate in, and I just take care of business. Problem solved. Nothing to worry about. Anyways, I fuel up, tow up, and nut up. At my base, I add another police car to the collection of patrol vehicles. At this point, I could start my own precinct. I pop rocks with the G-lock. Blow brains like Cobain. Wipe the floor like a Swiffer. You got that? Dementia? Ow. Moving on, I make my deposits of glorious loot.
Huh?
Oh, and I picked up some furniture from the store too. Just something to add more storage and lived-in space to the base. Honestly, I could just be a hoarder that practices good organization, so I don't end up on those reality TV shows. Speaking of being a filthy hoarder, I wash off all the blood, fleshy bits, and dirt at the river. I still haven't figured out how to get into a boat. Do you guys know? Comment below how, if you do. Unrelated, but if you guys know how to read road signs, could you explain that too?
Octagon.
I'm taking out the truck for good reason. I was gonna haul stuff from the police station and nearby businesses. First, I noticed the tank is a quarter full, so I was gonna gas it up. I park out back and get my weapons ready for the slaughter. The station was full of the undead, normally a frightening sight to see, but not for Christine. She caught them licks and crushed them faster than getting to the center of a Tootsie Pop. The boys in blue thought they could snack on her, but not today, biatch. There was also another SWAT officer inside the building. Unlike their real-life counterpart, I was happy to see that thick Kevlar, those bulky armored pads, and that big black bag. I just wanted to splatter his rotten brain matter across the floor with my mallet and take his clothes off. I picked through the dead to find some unread maps, a heart, and other junk I probably need. More importantly, the way to the armory was clear, so I bust in, take what I can carry, and load up on the truck. I also decided to rip up the zombie clothes to grind out my tailoring. After I come out of the bathroom, some undead brought me some extra weapons. How kind of them. I noticed that my fatigue is catching up, and the darkness was soon approaching, so I had to make do with one of the nearby homes as a sleeping spot. Delicious alcohol to help me sleep through my night terrors of being suffocated in small spaces.
I'm very claustrophobic!
Wake up, mommy.
Mommy? Mommy? What the fuck? Mommy? Nope. That's not what I meant to say. Mommy? 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 I go back to the truck and switch out my clothes for some SWAT drip. I then hop in the driver's seat and make my way to another weapon storage in Westpoint, the gun store next to Twiggy's. My truck was slow and the brain rot hadn't fully decayed the zombie's memory, so I had to deal with the sizable horde after arriving. I wasn't too worried. All I had to do was some juking and swing my trusty brain splatterer Mark 1 and my mallet. My weapon broke, but I always keep a spare. In the apocalypse, it's always good to have a backup for your backups. The dead was dealt with, so I break open that hoe and take a look-see with what I'm working with. I go to the back and find some couple prowling in the back room. Must be guarding the hard-to-find stuff. I found guns, ammo, attachments, and all sorts of stuff. Even the van parked outside was practicing their right to bear arms. This was almost enough for me to salute the flag and celebrate with the national anthem. Almost. I didn't get any explosives or ridiculously overpowered machine gun with an Americanly amount of ammunitions. Boo womp. I move the van to an open field for reasons I don't remember. I also rip up the clothes of the dead, like a necrophiliac in the morgue for more tailoring XP. After a couple hours, my fatigue was building up again and the night was approaching, so I set up my sleeping bag in the gun store bathroom and catch some Z's. Wake up, Gunnerai. Okay, I'm done with that bit. Or am I? Yeah, I got nothing. A new day, so I get to killing and gathering. I hop into the bar and clear it out. Nothing much here, but disassembling the furniture would be great for metal and metalworking XP. Also, the bar was holding on to some knowledge? I don't really know why there's books here, but it's a welcome sight to loot. Moreover, the shelves themselves would look good in my base, so I take those too. I fill my truck up and decide to do cleanup around the area. I might as well grind out the combat experience while I'm still refreshed and agile. I'm goated with the sauce. So much I get lost in it. Another broken weapon. But I got so many, it's like napkins. I wipe the streets clean and toss them aside.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Time slips by and I spend another night in my baggie inside the gun store.
Baba Booey.
The next morning I investigate some containers and found some construction and farming supplies. Inside the neighboring building, I find out it's a mechanic's car repair shop. I could possibly find more tools, spare car parts, and furniture to add more feng shui to my base. Immediately after, a horde wanders inside. One of them was dressed as an elf. Strange for August in-game, or IRL, since by the time this video is out, it's probably 2024. Damn. As I was looting the corpses, the outside group broke down the garages and I just had to abandon the place since I got what I needed. No need to get too greedy. I head back to my truck and drive over to the nearby Gigamart because I saw a large truck in the loading bay. I decide to use it to tow my smaller truck and slide through the streets smooth like butter. Remember that construction scene I had to abandon? Well, I found it again. I already had a sledgehammer, but another one couldn't hurt. A backup sledge sounds good to me. The cones were in the way too, so to not damage my engine or hood, I move them. Before I hopped in the truck, I wanted to clear out the dead and fuel up the barrels I collected from the car shop. The gas station was within walking distance, so I turned the Jenny on and painstakingly filled them up. As I was making my way back to base, I stopped by the school to gather more materials by disassembling stuff. The day became night, so I become eepy and take my sleepies in the nurse's office cot. I have my morning smoke.
Did you know 43% of all cigarettes contain male semen and or babies? You're smoking babies.
And continue my deconstruction destruction. Lockers, chairs, toilets. By the end of it, I was at level 5, almost level 6 metalworking, and the school was a pile of scrap metal. Nice. I make it back to base the next day and took the time to enjoy some remodeling. By the time I was done, it was early morning. I decided to enjoy some electricity by turning on the generator. Now I'm not in constant darkness. The fuel I collected in the barrels were plenty, so I wouldn't have to worry about it for a while. Thereafter, I moved the freezer and disassembled the fridge since there was no food to preserve right now. Next, I take my seed packs and shovel to start my vegetable garden. If I could get some bait for my traps, and extra food before November, that would be awesome. If you didn't know, November is when the renewable sources of food, except farming, become unavailable. I've only had a few characters survive to the winter, so my knowledge could be outdated. Anyways, I dig furrows, sow seeds, and water my plants. If you're wondering why Christine's in her underwear, it's because she was sweating with all that gear on. I didn't want her to get too dehydrated and sick from overheating. I also noticed her hair is growing out more, so I have her tie it up. No mechanical advantage. It just looks better in my opinion. The watering was finished, and I leave the empty buckets outside along with any other containers to collect rainwater. I then decide to make myself a fishing rod. It would be way better than spearfishing. I get better XP and food. The vegetables need some time, but I needed protein too. I would find my protein source in the river. I craft a simple rod, collect whatever bait I had lying around, and sleep until the next day. Early morning. I still had time before the peak fishing hours, so I put on my fisher drip. And I commenced one of the most masculine hobbies out there, fishing.
Hello, welcome to Femboy Fishing Episode 1.
My results were way better as I get some crappies, pikes, and bass. Better than the shoes I caught last time. In the kitchen, I prepare my fillets by slicing up my fishies. I cook them up in the oven, and once they're hot and ready, I munch down.
So good and tasty.
The rest I put in the freezer. With my hunger satiated, I decided to continue my Sigma mechanics skill grind. Once I took apart and pieced together the junkers, they ran out of their usefulness XP wise. I took my propane torch and turned them into scrap metal. I cleaned up and siphoned the gas out of the drivable cars, just in case I want to scrap them next. Next up was some reorganization in my garage. I had this big metal crate. It can fit a bunch of stuff, so I decided to make use of it. It did lag transferring large amounts of stuff, which was annoying. The whole process took a couple days. By now, I think I was most likely prepared for the long term. With that done, I put on my badass SWAT armor. Had a nap in my truck, and decided to put some boxes in the spiffle van for more storage capacity. Then it was time to drive back into town for more scavenging. I fuel up at that gas station after I clear out the nearby horde. Then I had an idea. Corpses produce maggots as they decay. Maggots can be used as fishing bait. Zombies were a source of food. Now I can kill Zeds and get food out of it. I start picking up the fresh bodies and dumping them in the interior of the spiffle van. Normally I'd be worried about getting corpse sickness in a closed space like this, but with a gas mask, I should be totally fine. This was perfect for food, combat XP, and tailoring XP. A 3-for-1 bargain. Nice. Driving on to go deeper in the business district of Westpoint. I wanted to see more interesting stuff and cut down on the larger hordes. Next to the police station was the bank. Usually I wouldn't bother with a location like this, but it was a potential loot spawn for guns, ammo, or other weapons. And it was close by, so why not? Unfortunately, there was nothing but the undead. Wandering off further, I noticed an Enigma bookstore. More knowledge for me? It was honestly overkill with how many textbooks I had. I also raided the kitchen next door for cooking supplies and other food items since I was passing through. As I was going back to my spiffle van, I noticed a truck in the loading bay. I didn't really need the truck, but that building could be interesting. It could be packed with goodies I don't know about. And to my surprise, it was a post office. For those of you that don't know, post offices often have books too. So the more knowledge for me. The adjacent store I investigated was a hardware store. I didn't really need more construction tools, but the fishing line and tackle I found was a great upgrade to my current fishing equipment. I took the floodlight and cement mixer because I thought they looked nice. I leave once it's getting late and pack my stuff into the van before seeing if I could find a safe spot to close my eyes in. It wasn't going to be the furniture store next to me. The alarm went off when I pried open the door. This was a pain since I thought the alarms didn't go off once the power went out. How do they even work without power? It's stupid. Whatever. I just drove off and parked in a small house I covered up, went up to the bedroom and slept through the distant alarm. In the morning I was greeted with the mess that alarm made. I wanted to clean house, but decided to do it somewhere else when I thought it was too big for me to handle.
That's what she said.
Where I stopped, a jet flew over me, so the hordes wandered in my direction. At first I thought it was just RNG Jesus just hating, but I saw it as a way to collect more resources and XP. After adding more stinky bodies to my van, I decided to check out the nearby garages for fishing poles. No luck, but I did find a restricted sign in a box. Now I could have my base like Area 51, and shoot down anyone Naruto running towards it. In addition to that, I cut down the horde with my neat 2x4 axe. Garage after garage after garage. No fishing pole. The other tools and materials were nice though. To add to that, I towed the truck in the road too. Back at the base, I refuel my Jenny, compost my rotten food, place my sign, deposit my loot gains, make a corpse pile, and forgot to resume my recording when I had a restroom break. I'm not mad, I swear. Mad? Me? What? I don't know what you're talking about. No matter. When I finally remembered to record, it's only been one day, and I'm doing some additional gardening in the rain. I figured it would be good to do it while it precipitates so I don't have to run back and forth to water some radishes. After that, I did some moving around the stuff and other small tidy chores around the base. When I was done, a chopper flew over, and I ran out to see if there was any zombies incoming. I'd rather not have any undead break down my door to eat my brains. When I felt it was safe enough, I go ahead and sleep. This time, pill and alcohol free, because I discovered my panic wasn't rising in the living room. The next day was more of the same, moving stuff around. However, I did decide to use one of the corpses for food. My morbid curiosity got the better of me, so I sawed off some undead flesh, cooked it, and froze it for later. A less insane idea I committed to was turning the zombie into fertilizer. A return to Mother Nature, you know? Moving on from flesh crafting, I do some more fishing with the bugs I collected off the decaying corpses. Call me SeaWorld because that day I just caught seafood. Whatever I saw, I caught. Catfish, sunfish, bait fish, subscribe fish. You name it, I got it. Immediately after, I slice up those beauties into fillets and cook them. I ate whatever I could and the rest was frozen for later. The rest of the day was spent reading and practicing my tailoring. A sleep followed, and the next day was rinse and repeat. I did make some fish, human meat, and tainted water stew, and delicious. It was just gathering food, cooking, and practicing my tailoring for a while. If you're wondering why, I wanted to max out the tailoring skill to upgrade my clothes. With leather patches, that adds an additional layer of protection. By the end of the day, I achieved my goal and upgraded my SWAT gear and increased the storage capacity of my bags. August 31st. I decided to do something dangerous. I took my Spaz 12, all the shells I could gather, and the patrol car to go out. It was time to grind out my aiming and reloading skill. In the rural open field just north of Westpoint, where dispersed zombies roaming about, I turned on my lights and siren and just watch them gather at the sound. Turns out there was a lot of them out there. No worries. Even after I ran out of shotgun shells, I brought backup weapons to wipe out the Horde. Even after I cleaned out the ones chasing me, a big Horde formed at the patrol car. I was gonna have to lure them out piecemeal and dispatch justice.
Monster kill.
By the end, Christine had gone through a few weapons, was covered in blood, and recovered her patrol car.
Badass.
I also wanted some more decoration items, so I head down to the gas station area to fuel up, loot a clothing store of its mannequins, and rest in the motel. I also tow the wrecked car back to base. I do some more disposing and sorting, equip some more guns, and bring some more ammo and melee weapons. I take care of my moodles, do some last minute checks, and decide to go out for a loot run. This time on foot to check on those bodies. As I was looking through the corpses, there was an airdrop nearby. I go for it, take the boxes, and continue on my merry way. When darkness blankets the rural fields, I stop at a farmhouse to rest. When I arrive in the suburbs of Westpoint, I look through the houses for any scraps I may have passed on during my first pass through. Snap, crackle, pop was all I could hear with each swing of my baseball bat. The satisfying squish of those mushy heads imploding was music to my ears. I spotted a boarded up house. I must have missed it, so I go to investigate. Some books, some melee weapons, nothing to get excited about. I decide to take a sedan parked in the driveway and take along another wrecked car back to base. By this point in the series, I was really feeling the game slow down for me. It was the same cycle repeating itself. I was ready for winter, so it was only a waiting game from here. I just did tasks to pass time. One last checkup on myself and what I've achieved so far. I smile, my milestones, the days that passed by, and the bigger challenges ahead of me. Thanks for watching today's episode, everyone. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more of me. Like if you enjoyed the video, and comment your thoughts. What have you enjoyed so far? Was there anything you noticed or had criticism on? Let me know down below. Next week should be the finale of the series. After that, I'm cooking up something good. Something different from Zomboid. Also, I fixed the mods list now, so if you want to attempt the Westpoint challenge yourself, go for it. My socials are linked down below if you have any questions regarding the mods, series, or just me in general. Take care.